In other news now, 3 families will be united in their grief today during a funeral service for the victims of a horrific taxi accident in the northwest. The 3 matric pupils died in a car crash whilst on their way back from a matric dance in Rustenburg last week. One of the 3 taxis transporting the learners overturned, instantly killing 3 and leaving the other passengers with serious injuries. For more on this, our reporter Zinhle Kanyane joins us live now. Zinhle, good morning to you. Can you give us an idea on what will be happening when it comes to the program this morning for the funeral?
Jacob, it's a very sad day for the 3 families that will be burying their loved ones, young children that had so many aspirations, so many dreams, and those were cut short. You would understand that they were returning from a matric farewell last weekend when one of the taxis overturned on the way back home at night around 8 p.m. in the evening. And the 3 learners that are being buried today died on the spot. And when we spoke to the education department said this was an unauthorized trip. They said that under COVID-19, under this pandemic especially, they are not allowing any trips whatsoever in the province. And so this trip was organized by the principal of the school and other teachers. And they are saying that they were never given the go-ahead to go on with this trip. So essentially, it seems as though the responsibility is on the senior management team of that school that actually allowed this trip to happen, that has then costed the lives of 3 learners. And we know that several others, Jacob, are seriously injured and they are recovering in hospital. But also the dynamics around this whole story, just before I give you the details of the program today, Jacob, is that these learners, about 70 or 80 of them, paid 350 each to attend this farewell. You can imagine it's been a very tough year for matrics, and for them this seemed like a break to celebrate a difficult year, and they paid 350 to the teachers, which we are told the teachers did not pay anything for this trip. So it seems as though this was a free trip for the teachers, but funded by the learners. So those are all the dynamics that are involved in this. We also know that there are reports from the learners that survived the crash that the driver, the taxi driver that was driving on that day, was drinking at the farewell along with the teachers. So there's so much to consider. So many things seem to have gone wrong. And unfortunately, it's resulted in what we are seeing today. These 3 families, particularly Isaac Nkosi's family, he's 18 years old. Tepiso Moache, which is where we are, he was 21 years old. And Amogelang Dipuko, who was 20 years old. These funerals will be running concurrently in different locations in all the 3 families. Due to COVID-19 regulations, the families preferred to have these funerals separately, to try and avoid overcrowding in one family or in one venue. So as it stands, where we are here today, Jacob, the funeral, we are told, will begin at 7 a.m. As we speak, we are told that there is a ritual that the family is doing with the body of Tepiso Moachi over at the accident scene before he makes his last way to his home here for the funeral arrangement. And we're also told in the culture that they practice in the home, Tepiso's body will not go inside the home because he has died of an accident, and that's the culture that they practice here at home. So the funeral will be held just outside the yard in the tent, and we are expecting it to be quite a short program. So by around 10 o'clock, we are expecting the funeral to be over, or perhaps making its way to the local cemetery.
Zinhle, before I let you go, what has been the department's response to this tragic news, especially with the dynamic that you've just raised? And are we expecting any officials to attend the funeral service?
Because there are 3 different venues, we are told that the minister and the senior management of the education department have spread themselves across all three families. So we are expecting a representative of the education department to come to this particular funeral where we are. But we also know that they are saying that they have actually established an investigating team to the school to investigate what happened before they actually take decisions. But I mean, it's a no-brainer, Jacob. There was a blunder that was made, and this trip was never supposed to happen, especially under these regulations. So I think the question now is, who is supposed to take the blame for the lives that were lost? Is it the school? Is it the principal and the teachers that attended this so-called farewell? Is it the department? There's so much at play, but clearly somebody has to take responsibility, because there's absolutely nothing the department or the school itself can do to console these families for essentially taking these children away from them.
All right, Zinhle Kanyane in the northwest there at Tshepiso Moagi's home. The 21-year-old passed away along with 3 other learners in an accident a few days ago. She'll be covering that funeral and we'll of course check in with her a little later. She says the program is expected to get underway at 7 a.m. sharp.